the Spirit of the Lord stirred me up to realize that this is to simply go and pick the bricks that fell apart and try to patch them up, and then paint the whole thing after plastering it, and then do an official reopening ceremony. That's even another more foolish.
Oh my goodness, we have to close this part of our show, but let me promise you something. We are going to have part 2 of this show because there's such more wisdom that is going to be poured out into this. We are back as promised. Yes, I told you, we at One Africa Radio TV, we keep to our promise. And of course, back with me, Dr. Hope Sibuyi. And we are still here, of course, to continue with what we left from part 1 of this show. And of course, Dr. Chisango, he's still here with us today to actually tell us, even explain and give us a solution. I think everybody is looking forward to hear what is the wisdom in terms of the solution. Dr. Chisango, we are back with part 2 of where we left last time.
Yes, let me appreciate all the viewers, and I'm really hoping that there will be more and more engagement.
Yes.
Yeah, because where we are coming from, we have said the solutions are out there, but the solutions are being blocked. So the system of where we are coming from is a system of exclusion. Right? So that's why you find even with central banks, they have to formulate policies for financial inclusion, right? And yet, why do we need policies for financial inclusion? It is because there is an admission that the financial system is based on exclusion. Political inclusion, again. Why do we have to need systems, constitutional systems, and constitutional debates about political inclusion? It's because we inherited systems that specialize in exclusion. Education, we inherited a system that specializes in exclusion. That's why the system tells you now that you are educated now. You are now Dr. Hope, who is educated. And then the system tells you that your mother, who made you to be Dr. Hope, is uneducated. You see? And then your mother is made to believe that she knows nothing. And yet your mother produced, an international impact person. So it's the system. So this system was also meant to make only a few people control everything, from finance to wealth, to preserve of knowledge, and everything else, you see. So everything else that everybody else knows was sort of like thrown out. If you don't belong to this club around this table, then you are nothing. But in the beginning, God never made these things to be so, because God made sure that everyone who he creates was going to be in the image and likeness of God. And everyone was actually created in order to be a master of dominion. Subduing the earth meaning to say to be in charge. Nobody was originally intended and created to be a responsibility of others or a responsibility of somebody else. People were supposed to be in charge. People were created and formed to be empowered. But we are coming from a background which specializes in getting strong by disempowering and weakening everything else and everybody else.
And is that what also causing that is causing a lot of us, especially economically? Because if we look around economically, we're not doing well.
I'm glad.
Is that what you're talking about to say? Because of this type
Yes.
of...
I'm glad you picked on that, because that was exactly going to be my next point.
Okay, sir.
Look at the economic philosophy that is being forced on all countries in this world. It's a very narrow, pedantic system, very narrow-minded, because we are forced to believe that economy is a function basically of three entities. We're told about business, which is predominantly private business,
Yeah.
as the developer of the economy.
Yeah.
And by so saying, they're actually talking about exclusive, very exclusive club of, entrepreneurs. And then you have, from there, you are then told that public sector, which is government,
Yeah.
its role is to be just a creator of the enabling environment, a regulator and a creator of the enabling environment. In fact, government is even chucked out of even regulating, because it's supposed to be open market, free market. And then you move from there, you are then told that the rest of the people, which is 99.something%, they must just supply labor. And then indirectly, that labor must also then become consumers, which means customers.
My goodness.
Right. And then we are told that this is a model. And then we are told that the 99.something% must hope and pray that the 0.something% that controls the rest of the wealth, they are going to also think about creating jobs for you. They are going to also think about starting businesses to create employment for you. And yet we know this for a fact, that no 99% of those who get into entrepreneurship, they don't get in there to create employment for anybody. They don't get there to empower communities.
They're also
primarily.
building a self-centered...
They go in there to make profit. The profit motive, the profit desire, is the leading driving force for either profit making or self-survival. Is the major driver of the private sector business on its own. And then if government now is simply relegated to creating an enabling environment only for this 0.something%
and leave
to
there.
thrive, and then the rest of the other 99.something% of the population, they are now supposed to go to school in order to supply labor to these chosen few.
The 0.
Right. And this 99.something%, the schooling system, especially in Africa and most parts of the developing world,
Yes, sir.
it's primed in such a way that you must finish school, but you don't know how to start anything of your own. So the system is meant to exclude and so forth. And so poverty begins now to be a systemically generated product. It's a poverty. It's not just systematically. It's systematically, but it is also systemically, which means all subsystems, they are meant to work together to create poor people who must then survive at the mercy of the chosen few. So that is where now we then have to have also no more in this reconstruction season. We cannot continue to have monopolies of wisdom or solutions or leadership. People cannot continue to sit there and say we are sitting and we are waiting because World Trade Organization is going to sort out issues of trade for us. World Bank is going to sort out the issues of finance and banking, international money. Those things were not even formed with you on the table. It's just like the whole state of Africa today. What we are today, we are busy defending things that we didn't build and things that we were not even built. 1844, 1884. We were not around the table at the Berlin Conference. There were 13 guys. The 14th one was an observer. Right, there were 13 guys around the table. None of them came from any portion of Africa. And then they were chopping this thing into pieces of like a cake.
Sure.
And then the scramble for Africa started. And so we are trying to now build prosperity, but within the system that was built to make you a customer and a consumer. So this is why now our parliaments in Africa, the things that they are busy with and as priorities even on legislative agendas, it's busy struggling to fight how to perform best for your oppressor, how to perform best and how to do best within the context and basket and interests of the guy that chopped. It's like if you are captured by human traffickers, and then they load you into a truck, and then it's 17 of you in that truck, and then you start to fight and you start to vote in that truck, and you are trying to find out how best how best to sleep properly, but inside the truck. How best to maintain your nutrition and health and wellness inside the truck. No one is talking about getting out of the truck. No one is talking about, deflating this human trafficking transport and business and busting this thing. Everybody is talking about how to be a best captive and so forth. So this is where reconstruction is coming about. And in Africa, in the context of Africa, you can't just blame it all on governments. Where are the citizens? Where are the people?
But how do we identify them? You spoke about, for example, when you said Moses was in the bush in the back of, how do we now identify those people that can actually become now leaders? Because sometimes you don't even realize that you are a leader.
That's a very good question. So the way forward, the solutions, very often, whilst people are burning and worrying and complaining, wisdom is out there. Wisdom is calling out in the streets. The solutions are there. But we have to be intentional. So there's one program that we are busy with in 2023 in World Economic Congress.
All right.
It's a program of headhunting and identifying
All right.
reconstruction solutions, be they at the level of programs or projects, from economic to social to spiritual to even civic solutions that could save humanity and that could also build the next dispensation of communities, of families, and of entire systems that have collapsed. So it is very fascinating to actually find that the solutions are out there. Some of them are coming from well-known places, well-known enterprises, but some of them are coming from unknown and nameless kind of, both individuals as well as groups. And this is not the first time, but this is the first time I would say we are doing this thing deliberately.
Okay.
If you take, for example, the area of health, wellness, and nutrition.
Yes.
There is now what is called the Kellogg breakfast.
Yes. Yes.
That thing came from church during its time.
Wow.
Yeah, it came from church, thinkers around the Seventh-day Adventist church.
Wow.
because there was a health crisis and a food and nutrition crisis. And so men in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, once upon a time, sat around the table, and there was a medical doctor who then said, how can we produce in one package a breakfast, which at least if somebody can partake of that breakfast, then even if they miss it during lunch and they miss it during supper, but at least they'll have one healthy meal per day. And that's how that thing came into being. And it went onto the market. And and there are so many other times. I mean, you know it. It's common knowledge. In the time of famine, ancient days, right here in Africa, but it was a famine that was going to affect the whole world. A blueprint for food security for 7 years of famine consecutively. It came from somebody who had received a divine revelation of how to restructure food security, agriculture, and production. And so solutions are actually out there. Now, that guy who came out with that solution, he had been in jail. A guy with answers had been in jail. Guys that had no answers were outside and they were running the show. So you frequently find that unless there is that intentional process of head hunting and looking out for solutions, we may actually wind back in the same old stuff and same old problems when the solutions are out there. So we are doing this intentionally through the country chapters of World Economic Congress that are spread out in Africa, but they're also spreading out overseas, making sure that we have a deliberate program and using a criteria-based template which goes out to say, go and identify unique solutions that are going to have high impact and broad-based impact, whether it is for economic transformation and empowerment, whether it is for the issues of health, whether it is also even for the issues of child and youth upbringing, and even the empowerment of women, because these solutions are actually out there. So these solutions, amongst other things, they must begin to turn the vast majority of the population that is currently relegated to being mere consumers and customers and clients, to turn them also into communities that are source communities that can be trusted to say, community so and so forth brought forth civilization in this particular sector to humanity. So we are beginning to reach out and to call, in other words, right here, we're making a call for those with solutions for rebuilding and reconstruction for the next dispensation. We are calling on them to come to the table, because we must announce, we must publicize, and we must bring exposure to these solutions so that they can go out. And this is not just confined to Africa. This is not just confined to churches, but this is across the board, including in education. Take, for example, in education. Why is it that in certain countries, a guy goes to school just for 7 years, and from there he can start a business, and he can start creating employment. He can start becoming a creator of wealth for entire communities. What kind of skills and skill-driven education is that? So sometimes you find these solutions are out there, but they are never deliberately mobilized. So there is a system that works in this world where in most cases the blind they are the loudest, and,
Wow.
and they want everybody to follow their loud
Yet they're
sound.
blind.
Yet they actually don't
My
have sometimes
goodness.
the best of the solutions. So this is where we are also saying Africa must wake up.
Africa, wake up.
Yeah, because Africa has, if you go outside of Africa, you see and you hear this appeal and plea. The whole world is actually crying for Africa to wake up because Africa has solutions. And this thing of being backseaters and bench warmers,
It has to come to an end.
yes, it has to come to an end.
Yes, sir.
Because most of the times, actually, the guys who complain, they complain because they have better solutions,
Ash,
but they don't have platforms
my
for
goodness.
now platforming their solutions. So they become complainers and protesters. So I am speaking to every complainant
Yes,
and to every protester to say, can you turn your complaint and your protest
and bring solutions.
into a solution? And then let's share this. Yeah. Now, this also, because you see, money and finance and resources and logistics answer so many of these issues
Yes.
that you are doing. So we're also talking to the money and financial services sector as well. So that also in that area, we need new thinkers and new types of financial packages, new types of financial solutions. Because the financial solutions, most of those that we have been existing at the moment, they're actually useless and they miss the mark. They are of no purpose insofar as solving what 99.9% of the world population is facing. So we are also in a call and in the call for new solutions and in the exhibitions of new solutions and launching of new solutions. We're also calling for new financial models and those with the new financial models to come to the table to say, how can we turn, for example, how can we turn the abundant lithium in Africa? How can we turn that into wealth? And how can the finances that we are holding be turned now into wealth creating tools rather than just consumptive tools? You see? So these are new innovations that we are talking about. How can we, for example, how did the country of Norway, a small country, how did it, with one major natural resource, how did they turn that natural resource into a sovereign wealth fund, which then turned the citizens of the country into the wealthiest individuals under the planet?
My goodness. My
How
goodness.
did we have a situation where a place like Qatar,
Yeah.
with one natural resource, how did they turn that natural resource into wealth, which makes every Qatari citizen who gets born, he gets born already owning over 250,000 US dollars just by being born. You don't have to fast and pray first. You just get born as a
Qatar.
citizen, and then you are
my
already a
God.
wealthy person. You see, how can we turn the resources in Africa into that kind of even a better, better arrangement? So these are the kinds of solutions that we are talking about, and we can't just leave these things to unknown phantom international organizations or unknown and so forth. Neither can we also just dump it over to governments. We as
Need to do something about it.
Yes.
Wow, amazing, amazing indeed. Dr. Chisango, your last word to somebody sitting there and he said, how do I get hold of you? I want to be part of what you are doing, and especially the wisdom that you just poured to Africa, and not Africa only, but the whole world. How do they get hold of you? They want to be part of this solution that you are bringing. And I believe that millions and millions of people who are watching out there really, as much as I feel like, wow, this is the best thing one could do. How can they get hold of you on any of the social medias?
Well, online, the quickest and easiest online is via the website.
Okay.
Yeah, worldeconomiccongress.com.
Okay.
worldeconomiccongress.com.
Yes, sir.
And then similarly, info@worldeconomiccongress.com, that's email.
Awesome.
So all inquiries are attended to.
There, okay.
And there is also opportunity for people to actually become affiliates. They can affiliate into the World Economic Congress through country chapters, but
Awesome.
also via the same website.
Okay.
That information for affiliation is available, and the easiest thing, just drop in your email and then you get attended to. But also, this whole issue of reconstruction solutions and projects, it's very topical right now, because if we delay, wrong folks are going to again go in the forefront, and they are going to again drive everybody into the ocean. So it is very, very critical, because this is why in 2023, one of the frontline flagship initiatives that we are putting out there is these exhibitions and launches of new solutions.
All right.
Literally country by country.
Country by country.
Yes, country by country. So we are setting out a competition out there, if you like, to say the door is open. Go through the gates are open. Go through the gates and be counted. Now, some countries have solutions for the entire world.
Yes.
But nobody knows about the solution.
Exactly. So you're calling everybody to say, come forth, let's do this together.
Some cities, some churches, some congregations, some schools, universities have got solutions. So we will be platforming those solutions and then doing exhibitions and calling on the whole world. And then at the same time, bringing and connecting the financiers and investors to these solutions.
Awesome.
And then governments that also want to adopt these as development programs.
Yes.
Then they can
are
adopt
also
that.
calling them.
Churches also need to have now one of the solutions that is very innovative, but it is not new. It has always been there. Is a solution whereby when you have church, who said church is just a spiritual program and a spiritual agency? Why is it also not an economic agency? Because if it represents God, God is more than just a spiritual solution leader. He is also, he says, I'm the God who gives you power to get wealth. So if God is in the church, where is the ministry or unity in the church responsible for generating wealth? So these things are part of the solutions.
Wow, wow, wow. I know that we wish we could extend time, but unfortunately, we have come to the end of our part 2. If you did not watch part 1, please do follow us on the same website, oneafrica.com. We will definitely give you all the information. And from me to you, we love you, and don't forget to really subscribe and press on that notification button so that every time we are launching such kind of programs, you will be first to be notified. And of course, Dr. Chisango has given you all the info, but if you have missed that, we will put it right here so that you can get all the info. From me to you, Rope for Hope Talk Show, me, Dr. Hope, One Africa Radio TV. We love you, and we say new doors has been opened for you. Peace.
One Africa Radio TV.